a wonderful job. I was assigned to the operating room. My job, it turned out, was scrubbing the bloody instruments after the operation before they went into the sterilizer. And when I did that well, sometimes I got to defrost the doctor's refrigerator. And when I really did it well, this is job one, I got to stand up to the window that looked in on a real operation and see how it went. So that was pretty impressive. But my husband we moved almost every year during my military life, so I would move from job to job. I morphed from gray lady, where I started, to staff aide, and this small role and that small role, and felt always very glad to be there. But there was a moment of shock when I presented myself eventually at the field director's office in a small post in Bavaria. And the way you did in those days, you took your card that listed all the hours you had served over time. And thinking of myself always as we called it, modestly, just a volunteer, I handed it in and said, would you please give this to your chairman of volunteers? And he sat back and smiled, and he said, well, since you are my first volunteer, you are the chairman of volunteers. Welcome aboard. That's where I began to understand the philosophy of the American Red Cross and its volunteers. They trained us. Then they trusted us. Then they allowed us to work with them to grow and sometimes improve the programs that they needed, one sort of another, never always to be predicted. Best of all, they had the confidence, after all that when they called for our help, we'd be ready. And you've seen today, it works. I will always be grateful to the men and women, wonderful human beings, staff, senior volunteers, all of them who helped grow me through the years. I could not have had a better education toward service. All of which brings me to why I'm standing up here right now, to talk about our honoree for this morning. If ever there were a perfect example of a woman who cares, it is Lieutenant General Patricia Horoho. This is a woman whose caring was a lifelong mission and still is. As a nurse, she has been there at both tragedies and triumphs. She has been called to meet countless medical and military challenges. Her resume, record of achievements, cannot have been one person's, must have been at least three. Throughout her life, she's exhibited courage, professional efficiency, but personal leadership driving it always. It comes from the head, but it comes from the heart because she truly cares. Her record of accomplishment is legendary. She's been recognized at the highest levels, military and medical. She was at the 9/11 Pentagon tragedy. She has been serving in Afghanistan, in Haiti. You can't even think to name them all. But as a nurse, she is more than a role model. She is an inspiration. For all that, I consider Lieutenant General Patricia Horoho is indeed a volunteer because, and of course not just a volunteer, but a consummate volunteer. She chose her mission, her life, and she's been willing to serve wherever and whenever she was asked. We can be very proud indeed to be honoring today a leader who serves not only as the Surgeon General of the United States Army, but also, thankfully, liaison to services of the armed forces of the American Red Cross. General Horoho is there for all of us. Please help us celebrate and welcome her. General, will you come to the stage, please? And Jarrett Barrios, I believe you're here.
There's a photographer. We just don't know where he is.
My husband's got a cell phone. Go for it.
All right. So we'll do this after the show and get back to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Humanitarian of the Year, the woman who cares.
Good morning, everyone. This is such a humbling honor, and those words just don't even seem adequate to be able to describe the emotion that I feel right now. I'd like to thank Mrs. Patton, to be able to meet one of our leaders, both in the military and the Red Cross, is an experience of a lifetime. And so thank you very much for all that you continue to do for our military families and for the American population. I'd like to thank Jarrett for his leadership, what he continues to do in leading the American Red Cross, and the other Eastern Massachusetts leaders that are here today and those that aren't here today. You all make a difference every single day. And then if I could take 1 minute to also recognize Commander Kelly and to say thank you for your heroism, your leadership, and your continued service through the American Red Cross. If we can give a big round of applause. The American Red Cross, you've heard this morning of just the different responses that you all have really stood up to the task when called. Whether it was the Boston bombing, whether it was the storms, the individual fires, you all responded to that. And I believe that the strength of the American Red Cross is the human connection, and that you really have that call to action, and that you take compassion and you take caring and you put it into action to make a difference. And I've seen that through my personal life. My father, who is a World War II vet, Korea and Vietnam, who's still living today, and my mother. The two of them celebrated 66 years of marriage this past May. But thank you. Thanks. The American Red Cross was with my father and his troops through the wars. My mother served as a Red Cross volunteer at Womack Army Medical Center as I was growing up, and I remember looking at the Red Cross and just being so excited and actually just impressed with her candy-striped uniform that she wore at that time. And then through my personal life, the American Red Cross was there when we had the Pope disaster at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where 500 paratroopers were injured in a crash, in an air crash. The American Red Cross responded in less than an hour and was there through the aftermath. The American Red Cross was there at 9/11 and continued to be there for those that survived and those that had lost loved ones. And it was on what turned into a battlefield in the front of the Pentagon, was a tent that was put up that had the symbol of the American Red Cross. And it gave peace, it gave comfort, both physical, mental, and spiritual, on that day in 9/11 and continued in the aftermath. The American Red Cross has been shoulder to shoulder with our war fighters throughout the ages. When you see the symbol on the battlefield of the Red Cross on our medevac choppers, people make a connection in two ways. They know that someone with the right skills at the right time is going to be there to provide the care that they need. It's a symbol of hope and a symbol of inspiration. And the same red threads and the same white threads that are woven into the Red Cross flag are the same red threads and the same white threads that are woven into the American flag. And those are still threads that weave the fabric of our nation, that connects our community leaders, that bring the support that is needed to care for those either home and abroad. And it protects our freedoms, and it makes us very proud to be Americans. So thank you for what you do each and every day. Thank you for being shoulder to shoulder with the American war fighters and their families, and for allowing us to be able to serve our nation, knowing that those that are home will have the support and the protection and the care and the compassion from the American Red Cross. I'm extremely humbled by this award, and I appreciate all that you continue to do. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We're moving into the home stretch. Good morning. I'm John Statler. I'm the chairman of the board of the Red Cross of Massachusetts. And again, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for being here. Lieutenant General Araujo, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the award. I mentioned I'm the chair of the board, and I think one group that we haven't thanked is our members of the board. So I think there's a number of you here. If everybody could just stand up who's on the board of the Red Cross, and if we get a round of applause and thank this group. I also wanted to thank Chief Justice Marshall, who is here. We appreciate your support, and thank you for joining us. One other thank you I wanted to offer is State Senator Jennifer Flanagan. I know I had seen her here earlier, but I wanted to ask you if you could come up and join me at the podium real quickly. Jennifer, thank you very much. On behalf of the Red Cross, I just wanted to thank you for supporting our efforts around education and awareness, both in Advocate and Leominster, as well as here in Beacon Hill. So thank you very much for being part of this. And I wanted to present this plaque here in a certificate of appreciation. They don't usually let me go off script, but I'm going to recognize somebody who doesn't know she's being recognized. Julianne Amenchev is here up front, so Julianne, why don't you come up? She won't come up easily, so everybody give Julianne a round of applause. Julianne is one of my partners at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Julianne, as well as many other here put all of this together. So Julianne was the chair of the event, so thank you very much, Julianne. I'm gonna pay for that, I'm sure, later on today. But Julianne, thank you very much for your leadership in putting this together and getting such a great group together. With that, I think, Liz, I turn it over to you.
All right. We are staying on schedule, everybody. And I'm going to, if my friend Candy, why don't you come up in here and help me with this last piece of business? We have two pieces of business here to end the morning with. The first of which is, you'll notice these beautiful boxes on the table. You cannot take them with you, okay? They have another appearance later today, so you can't take them today. And then the other piece of important business, for those of you that were kind enough to make donations today and put your name in the right envelope direction, because I probably messed it up. But anyway, we have some drawings, and I'm going to have my friend Candy, if she's ready. Candy, are you back there? She's coming. You know we have two singers up here between the two of us, so sorry about that. As I said, we had some donations of 2 drawings, and I'm just trying to, as I look at this, hang on a second here. Okay, so we have 3 names of 3 people who are receiving gifts under $1,000. The first one for the tea at the Taj Hotel and a beautiful scarf from Burberry is, oh, yes, jump in, darling.
Hi there, Diana Carrito.
Is Diana here?
Diane's going to tea at the Taj.
Tea at the Taj. Our next under $1,000 is the overnight stay at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and the winner goes to
Suzanne Howley.
Is Suzanne in the room? And a $500 gift certificate from Talbot's, tucked away inside a Talbot's purse, is
Ooh, Vicki O'Leary, give me your purse.
Don't let candy near your purse. And so for those people who gave over $1,000, we have a 2-night stay at the Park Plaza Hotel.